What you see behind you are multi-barrel rocket launchers. They're going to target directly on top of Tiger Hills, and the role they play is to saturate the targets on top of Tiger Hills by dumping a very large amount of explosives onto the targets in a very short duration of time.
25 years ago, when I was not yet 27, I had the honor and the privilege of reporting from the front line, covering the Kargil war that had broken out between India and Pakistan. What was the Kargil war? Some people might be too young today to even remember. In one line, Pakistanis, regulars, and their associates had squatted on Indian territory, sitting on the heights, taking control of mountain peaks during the winter months when the understanding between both countries was that the troops would pull back. Indian soldiers, the Indian army, the Indian military fought a heroic battle to push the Pakistanis back. And that day, every 26th of July, is commemorated as Vijay Divas, the day of victory. Once again, my privilege today to commemorate this important day in our country's calendar and to welcome some very special people who have not just suffered personal loss, but have through those losses made it their mission to keep the stories not just of their loved ones alive, but also the values of Kargil, the ethos of the Indian military alive for all times to come. Let me introduce on this day of remembrance our very, very special guests. First, Major Akhill is with us. He's one of the country's most important military storytellers. When I talk about keeping the memories of Kargil alive, people like him have done yeoman service. They've worked with different departments of government, and he has a very, very popular podcast that I urge all of you to listen to. I want to bring in Major Akhill, and then I'll come to Madhumita ma'am. Major Akhill, you have spent a large part of your life telling these stories, telling the stories that we know and also the stories that we don't know. And I think, as has been said by everybody here, the anniversary is to remember the stories. The tougher part is to keep the stories alive between the anniversary dates. What would you want people to understand about a young soldier who, as Colonel Tripta Thapar, Meena ma'am, Colonel Bhalotia have just said, is marching towards death? Because that is what happened in Kargil. And that is what happens in other contexts too. We have young men losing their lives in the line of duty in Jammu over the last month.
I'll begin with the Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Everyone. The first thing and the only thing which I would like to convey to my fellow countrymen is a soldier dies not when he's killed, but when he's forgotten. Every soldier who went up the hills of Kargil was a hero. 527 did not come back. Around 1,000 were injured forever, scarred forever. Now, out of that, even if India as a country has given 300 gallantry awards to the bravery and the courage of those heroes, the rest of them were no less brave. There is no doubt about that. Now, what needs to be understood about Kargil in this context is that Kargil was an impossible war. I always say that, and I'll keep on saying that. It was an impossible war because we fought against all kind of odds. We were Indian Army, or my fellow soldiers, my seniors, my juniors, they were sitting ducks, and the enemy was sitting on top. We was literally doing a target practice, watching one small dot, 2 dots, 10 dots, hit people coming up. He was looking at them and firing at them like a target practice, right? So everybody who went up those hills knew very well that they may not come back. I was talking about Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey the other day. Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey set one of the finest examples of moral courage, which is the bedrock of OLQs, which is officer-like qualities in the Indian Army officers, on the basis of which they are selected. And those qualities are not present in everyone, every human being, but those qualities have to be present in an army officer to be selected, to be recommended recommended for commission by the president. Now, one of those qualities is moral courage. The moral courage is something which Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey set up one of the finest examples of that. If I tell you, you won't believe that because he is one of the most famous faces. He is one of the Paramveer Chakras of Kargil War. What is not known about him is that there was a critical moment when Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey risked a court martial by challenging the wisdom of going for a suicidal attack on the Kukar Thang feature with zero chances of success because the orders came from top. He told, Sir, I will do what you tell me. But this attack which you are trying to tell me is going to fail. You want me to fail. And his point was well taken, understood, and absorbed by the commanders who cancelled that attack. And then again they regrouped, and again they went for an attack where they finally got us Haluwa. So the point which I'm trying to make over here is that there is a difference between bravado and moral courage. Bravado and bravery. There is a very thin red line, you know.
Yes. Yes.
So however, in Kargil, despite that, the soldiers did not hesitate to even cross that line, undertake a bravado, and knew that they're going to die.
I want to pick up. Yes, absolutely. Like I said, so many young, Vikram Batra was amongst the first interviews I did at the front line, and he was amongst the first obituaries I wrote. And it breaks my heart even today he was 2.5 years younger than me at that time, and and I had met him, and I had asked him, "Aapko dar nahi lagta?" And he laughed and he said, "Ye dil mange more," and that was the Pepsi Cola slogan then.
Yeah.
And then it became, of course, a national war cry. I want to just ask you one thing before I come to Madhumita ma'am. You said a soldier dies when he is forgotten, right? Not when he dies, but when he's forgotten. Do you worry that despite all of these anniversaries, commemorations, a heightened awareness, that the families that a soldier leaves behind are lonely in the end? They have each other. Or do you feel that no, after Kargil something changed and we learned? We learned to remember our soldiers every day.
Well, Barkha, uh, as I always say that EQ, uh, IQ may not be a learning process, but EQ definitely is. We can keep on improving on our emotions and our sentiments. In the world where we live in, where the machines have completely taken over our feelings, the one-to-one touch, the personal touch, which we used to have in those times,
Yes.
it is more important to be sensitive to the environment. It is more important to be sensitive to the environment where we cannot treat the soldiers as human resources. They are not human
Right.
resources. They
Yeah.
are, yeah, go ahead, please.
No, I was just picking up on this thought, and I want to bring in Madhumita ma'am and then, go around
Yes,
the
I was talking
conversation again.
about her only. Exactly. I was talking about her only before you move on to her. This is one example where I show you where people get insensitive and how they can avoid that. To at least, जो मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ कि अगर आपके अंदर वो इमोशंस नहीं है, अगर आप रिस्पेक्ट नहीं कर सकते हैं सोल्जर्स की,
जी, जी.
दिखा तो सकते हैं.
Ji. Let
तो
me bring
what
in
happened with,
Madhumita. Let
yeah,
me bring in Dr. Madhumita, a scientist herself. Major Akhill, many stories remain to be told. Many stories, that you want the country to understand. And I know that your podcast has focused on many of them. One thing you want people to understand about the Forge.
all right. So it's just one thing which again. So I just repeat. Iqbal. Iqbal was an Indian origin poet, settled down in Pakistan. And when he was an Indian, he wrote about India. इस यूनानो मिस्र और रोमा सब मिट गए जहां से अब तक मगर है बाकी नामो निशा हमारा और मजहब नहीं सिखाता आपस में बैर रखना और हिंदी है हम हिंदुस्तान हमारा आई थिंक दैट्स द स्पिरिट ऑफ इंडियन आर्मी
Yeah.
and they will carry the spirit wherever they go right from Kargil till Captain Rishesh Thapa or and that is something which has kept the ethos of Indian Army alive, and it will. The only thing which I want to tell my fellow countrymen again in the last is be a citizen worth fighting for. That is something which is very important, and समझदार को इशारा काफी होता है.
I think the reference you have made about all of you, about the inclusivity, the camaraderie, the sense of family, it is very, very important to end with that acknowledgement.
Hello? Hello? Hello, listen, Shivnath, I'm calling from a bunker. I can't speak. Quickly take down the greeting.